just nice and easy like we usually do and get into a little bit of a flow today. So I'd like you to take a comfortable seat. As you find your seat, have your hands down along your legs and sit up really tall through your spine. As a way of helping us transition from the work of the day into this time for yourself, this time for yoga practice. Close the eyes. Take in a couple of breaths. Let the first couple of breaths kind of encompass what you've accomplished, what you've done today. Next couple of breaths, try to somewhat set it aside. And then in the next couple of breaths, notice how you're feeling now. I like to think of a word, maybe two words that kind of come up that say, yeah, I'm feeling pretty calm right now. Maybe there's a certain body part that's a little achy, a little stiff, noticing that as well. And so that we can take that information into each of the movements in the practice today. And then nod the chin down to the chest and just start to rock the head a little bit from side to side. Seems a little cheesy sometimes, but if you did have an achy, tight part of the body, in this little opening movement, can you send it healing and releasing energy? And then keep the right ear over towards the right shoulder. Walk the left hand out to the side. Get a little more stretch. And then you can add the right hand on top of the left ear. Only add that hand if it still feels good to you. Sometimes more pressure, not so good. Bring both hands back to the thighs and then go chin to chest and left ear over to the left shoulder. Same thing here. Walk the hand out first. And then take left hand on top of the right ear and give it a little tug out to the side. Again, taking notice if that extra is still feeling okay. Then bring both hands back to the thighs and again, chin down to the chest. Today, lift the head, open the eyes. Okay, so we're going to stretch our legs out in front. I'm going to open with a little bit more hip and feet work before we get onto all fours. And then take your feet about outer hip distance apart. And just reach your hands down through the center. Doesn't need to be a lot right here, just kind of checking in. And then we're going to come right back up. Keep the knees about that wide and bring the soles of your feet together and pretty far out in front of you. We're not trying to do that close-in butterfly position. It's like a big star pose right now. We call it omega pose. And then fold over again. So same thing you just did, now soles of the feet together. So first little extra opening for the hips. We've got Kelsey and Jan now. Hi, ladies. Okay, and then you're going to bring the body back upright and keep your left foot as it is, but stretch your right leg straight. So it goes back to that outer hip distance apart. And this is one of those like, check in, what's your level? The first thing is to move the left foot over towards the right thigh. towards the right calf. And fold over. We're going to give everything about a couple of breaths, 2-3 breaths. And then you're going to come right back up. The foot's going to stay in the same place, but it's going to set on top of the shin. So I've got my left foot on top of the right shin and fold back over. To me, this is always just a nice way to gradually notice and move into a little bit more mobility in the hips, external rotation of the hip. So now the foot, we're going to set it back down to the mat, but can it jump all the way up to where your thigh is? That's often like our highest tree pose. And fold over. And then come back up and cross your ankle over the thigh. Now we're going to thread our fingers in between the toes so we get that extra bit of footwork. Spread your fingers to spread the toes. And then roll your ankle around in one direction and the other. This is usually the time of the year the feet are extra wintry. And by that, I mean a little more stiff. Spread the fingers out, let it go, and flex and point. Same thing like our chips, our lips get a little chapped. I'll notice that sort of thing in the feet, right? So we just need a little more help. Massage the feet here. And then hold on above your ankle, pick your leg up and shake it out. Before you put it back down, can you bring your heel closer to the opposite hip? Like a lotus leg. This is a lot, so if it's not ready for it yet, don't worry about it. Keep it where it was before. And then start to send your knee back down towards the ground. And you're not pulling your knee down, you're trying to lengthen out. You can even roll over, get the thigh flat down on the ground. Sometimes that's helpful, and then slowly come back upright. Don't overdo it here again. Just where does it go for you? Pick the leg up off of the leg and then slide it out. And then we've got to do this to the second side. So we're going to take our feet wider than hip distance and lean over. Again, we're about 2 or 3 breaths in each of these stages today. We're going to come back upright, soles of the feet together, knees still outer hip distance apart, big star position, Tadasana, and fold over. Okay, we'll come on up. And then you're on to the second leg. So extend the left leg out. Move the foot to the calf. It's on the ground next to the calf and fold over. Probably feeling that in the extended leg, down the back of the thigh, the hamstring, into the calf a little bit. But into the rotation of the bent knee as well. Come back upright and then just move the foot on top of the shin and fold back over. And the whole time you can think of extending from your right inner thigh out to the right knee. Okay, and then here's where we come up and we slide our heel all the way up the leg. Oh, I missed one, didn't I? Take it back down like you're in tree pose. Foot to the inner thigh and fold over. Give it a couple of breaths. Come on up and then slide the ankle over the thigh. Here's where we stay more upright in the torso and thread the fingers in between the toes, spread it wide. And then make like a fist with your fingers around the toes. And work the ankle around in circles. One way and then the other. Release the hand and flex and point, flex and point. Hold on above your ankle. Lift the entire leg and try to shake it out. And then can you bring your heel high up into the crease of the hip? At first, that knee is way off of the ground. You want to fully close the knee joint as much as we possibly can. And then you can lean over onto it. Keep extending from inner hip to inner knee and slowly come back upright so that you're sitting both ends of your butt on the ground. And my knee's definitely off of the ground here. I want to pick up the foot entirely and then extend out. Lay the legs down, give it a reach right through the center one more time. Okay, good. Come on back up. Nice little extra opening for hips and feet. And then let's move over to all fours. Do cat and cow pose. Every inhale, pull the chest forward and through, eyes and tailbone up to the sky. As you exhale, press down through the hands and knees, round your back and drop the head. Just back and forth, easy does it. Okay, downward facing dog. Tuck the toes and lift the hips up and back. Pedal the feet out a little back and forth. And then I want you to keep the left knee bent and straighten the right leg. Look back at your right foot. You see the crease of your ankle? Can you push a little bit more into your right big toe and then pull back to your right outer heel to get maybe even just one little crease of the ankle to pop up a little bit? The action of moving the thigh back more, the heel down more. And the results of that, a really nice calf stretch. Okay, lift both heels off of the ground. Before we go to the second side, lay your knees down, set your knees down. Keep your feet tucked like they are in down dog and sit back on your heels. This is the foot stretch that nobody ever likes. Interlace the hands, flip the palms, lift the arms up to the sky. This other thing that feels pretty tight usually, and then maybe the feet don't feel so bad. Okay, and then we're going to release the hands, come back through all fours, back to downward facing dog. Paddle out the feet. And then second side. So you're going to keep the right knee bent a lot now. And as much as you can, straighten the left leg and push the heel down onto the mat. And then again, if you're looking back at your ankle, so oftentimes my ankle has all these creases kind of bunched down towards the foot. And it's like I'm trying to smooth those wrinkles out. And the way that I have to do that is push down through the big toe and back through the outer heel, and it might change just a little bit. But that change is bringing more definition and stretch into the outer calf. Okay, good stuff. Both knees go down. This time you get to sit on flat feet, so you get a good stretch on the front side of the foot and ankle there. And let's add a twist in. Look to your right. And look to your left. Okay. Back to the center, back to all fours. One more look at downward facing dog. Tuck the toes and lift the hips. And then adjust your down dog so that your feet are a little wider than the hips, like not quite as wide as your yoga mat, but almost. And then walk your hands slowly, slowly back. You can bend the knees as you do this until your hands are right in front of the feet. Okay, here we can concentrate pretty well on getting the back of the heel, big toe, all the way over the pinky toe mound, really firm onto the ground. And I want you to keep your feet firm on the ground. And then walk the hands slowly back out. And it's probably a shorter downward facing dog now, so that you really, really feel that stretch in the calves and probably up into your hamstrings. But we're thinking feet, ankles, calves right now. We're staying low in those legs. And then can you walk your hands again back in towards the feet? Shift the hips more right over the line of the heels again, rather than forward, right over the line of the hip. Bend the knees as much as necessary, but as you fold the torso in, we're looking for a stretch that comes higher and feel it mostly in the back of the thighs now, rather than in the calves. That's what I'm going for. Okay, bring your hands to your waist, point the elbows up to the sky, push down into your feet and come all the way up to standing. Walk to the front end of your yoga mat. We'll start to bring a little bit more focus now into quads, thighs, and hips. As we move through this flow, inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to your thighs, half lift, extend from the hips out to the crown of the head. Okay, we'll keep our right foot forward and step the left foot back into a long, low lunge. Step the left knee down to the mat. And lift the arms up to the sky, torso up. And here, we're not trying to move our hips down and forward. I want you to stay more lifted so that you get the stretch into the back leg as if it's pulling up away from the ground. And then add a little twist. Look towards your right. Big twist, really. Both arms go back up and lower down around the front leg. Lift the back knee off of the ground. We do that one more time, but with the knee up. Lift the torso upright and arms up. Add the twist. Big squeeze in the back glute there to stabilize. And then take the arms back up, untwist. Set both hands down around the front foot. And step back to plank. Lower flat down against your mat. Cobra, peel the chest up a little bit. Keep the elbows bent, hug them into your side. And then lower it down. And find your way back to downward facing dog. Okay, this time step your left foot forward up to the front of the mat. Set the right knee down. And come upright, arms to the sky. Again, we're not trying to go forward. We're trying to stay more upright here. Lift, lift, lift. Lower the hands down, pick up the back knee. Come back upright. Oh, I forgot that twist down there. That's okay. We'll give it an extra breath here. Twist. Right hand comes across the left thigh to kind of help hold you. Good. Both arms back up. And lower the hands down either side of the front foot. Okay, step back to plank. Lower down to the mat. Cobra. Feel the chest up. Change to downward facing dog. Look forward in between your hands. And then step all the way forward. Come up halfway, hands to thighs or shins. Try to get the length of the spine nice and full. And then fold over the legs. Stand up, take the arms high. Okay, another one kind of like this, a little bit different there. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. So keep the right foot forward and step your left foot back into your full stride of the lunge. This time, lower your back knee down and then pull the left knee more forward so that you have a shorter stride. Okay, can you come up to your front thigh? Both hands on the thigh. Pick up your right heel and go into the front leg so that the heel actually does come off of the mat and you fully close this knee joint. A little bit like what we were trying to do with that lotus leg in our opening pose. And you can lean the hands way forward here. This is something a lot of times we'll see in class and your yoga teacher is going to say, stop doing that, pull back, knee over the ankle. But here we've got a fully closed knee joint, mindfully going into it, and it's for a stretch in the back of the heel. And then I want you to kick your hips all the way back. Walk your hands back up to your front thigh. Tuck the toes and lift up. If it feels a little short, just wiggle the leg out until you've got your full stride, both arms back up to the sky. Hinge forward now at the waist. Set your belly down onto your thigh. Okay, that back knee, it's getting the action here. Lower it down, lift it up. Lower it down, lift it up. One more time, lower it down, lift it up. And then the hands go down, step back to plank, to the mat. Peel the chest up. And downward facing dog, hips all the way up and back. Okay, so second side, and another way to get into that short stride is just step your left foot forward about 3/4 of the way. And that's usually the first step that most people get, and then they have to help themselves more forward. It's good, right there, right behind your hands. And then set the back knee down. Come up first, lift the heel. Everything is strong, it's very meaningful, and then go forward and down with it. If it doesn't feel right to you, it doesn't feel right, don't do it. But if it's all right, put all your weight forward into the hands. And it's like I'm trying to get my heel down, but I can't because I'm so far over it. And then we're going to back up, back up, back up. Hands to the front thigh, overhead. Tuck the back toe. Lift on up. Wiggle it out into your nice long stride. And take your belly forward and down onto your thigh. So I'm pushing a lot, chest and belly onto the thigh so that I've got stability in that front leg and I can work the back leg. Bend the back knee down and up, down and up, down and up. Then you drop the hands down and again step back to plank. Lower. Feel the chest up. And downward facing dog. Okay, let's take a big bend in the knees and try to walk your hands back to your feet. Ragdoll pose here. Hold on to your elbows and just sway a little bit from side to side. And then slowly come on up to standing. Roll, roll, roll. Shoulders up and back a couple of times. Okay, walk it back up to the front of the mat. We've got one more round, very focused in quads and hips. So we're like slowly walking our way up the body today in this practice. Lift the arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Half lift. Keep the right foot forward, step your left foot back. Nice long lunge. Now here, both hands to the inside of your foot. And then walk your right foot over to the very edge of your mat. So you're using the entire width of the mat from left to right. Turn the right toes off so they're on your floor, but the heel is still on your mat. And then lower the back knee down. Okay, this is how we typically do this extra quad stretch. Put the weight onto the left hand, pull the left heel in. Look back and try to catch hold of your foot on the pinky toe side. And then gently pull your foot in a little bit so that it makes your elbow bend. But at the same time, you're pushing your foot back out into the hand. So it's like this little tug of war that's going on. Keep turning the chest up towards the sky. Slow release there. Both hands back to the middle. Heel toe the right foot back in, lift the back knee. Warrior two, spin the back heel down, line up front heel to back heel in one line. Come on up, open the chest, but extend the arms in either direction and gaze out over the front fingertips. Take a couple of breaths here in warrior two. Try to be soft across the shoulders, out to the fingertips. Really solid in your legs. And cartwheel your hands back down, around the front leg. Spin the back heel up. Step through plank pose. Lower down to the mat. Pick up the chest for cobra. Think shoulders up and back. And then change to downward facing dog. Okay, again, so it's the same side. Again, I want you to look forward and step your right foot forward. So you're still on the same side. And then heel toe the right foot out to the side, turn it out, toes off of the mat, heels on the mat. So it starts the exact same way, back knee down. A little bit of weight forward and out on that left arm to hold you. And pull the back heel in. Okay, this time the different thing, instead of holding on to the pinky toe side of your foot, you're gonna try to catch hold of the big toe side of your foot. So it's the inside of your foot. And then instead of opening the chest and trying to look over the front leg, the right leg, I want you to spin the chest down and forward. As you do that, you're kind of taking your foot with you and look more down at your yoga mat. Square off the shoulders. And that should be a different quad stretch. And then nice and slow, release your hand. Release the leg. We're going to get into a quick hamstring stretch. So draw your hips back. Flex the right foot. Pull your toes up towards the sky. Rebend everything into your low lunge. Step the back foot forward. Half lift. Forward fold. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky. Okay, last big hip flow here. Second side, fold over. Inhale, half lift. So now you should have left foot forward and step your right foot back into your long, low lunge. Left foot forward, step the right foot back. Bring both hands again to the inside. Heel toe the left foot out, so it's on the left corner of the mat, left edge of the mat, I should say, and then turn the toes out so the toes are off of your mat, the heel is on, and lower the back knee down. The weight goes a little bit forward, a little bit out to the side onto the right hand. And with the weight leaning over towards the right side, it should be a little bit easier to add that turn and look. Pull the back heel in. Hold on to the pinky toe side of the foot and keep everything open. Instead of trying to pull the foot in, it's as if you're trying to extend back. So it's more of a kick of the foot into the hand here. And then you do a slow release. Pick up the back knee. Spin the heel down, come to warrior two. So you lift the torso up, warrior two is open. Hips and shoulders right over each other. Bend the front knee a lot and look over your front fingertips. Go ahead, stay here for a couple of breaths. Look down at your front foot, take the hands around, step back to plank, lower to the mat, peel up for cobra, and downward facing dog. Okay, and then again, it's still the same side, so we're gonna step our left foot forward again. Heel toe it out to the left edge of the mat, turn the toes out, heel stays on the mat, drop the back knee. This time, as you pull the back heel in, it's still left hand to the right foot, but you're catching hold of the big toe side of the foot rather than the pinky toe side. Little change, but that should make it more doable to pull the shoulders both square back towards the front end of the yoga mat. And now you're doing more to keep the heel close in rather than trying to kick the foot out. Less twist. For me, more intensity in that back quad stretch. And then nice and slow, release the back leg. We're gonna come into our regular low lunge, back knee up. And step both feet to the front of the mat. I forgot something, didn't I? Inhale, half lift. I'll come back to it, I promise. Exhale and fold. Stand up, reach the arms to the sky. And bring palms together, center the chest. Take in a couple of breaths. I always think this is a good time, about halfway through. Check in, what are those first 1 or 2 words that are coming up? How's the body feeling? How's the mental state here? The rest of the practice, we can keep working with that. Okay, let's drag the arms back up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Get that second hamstring stretch. So left foot forward, right foot back. Drop the back knee. Then kick the hips back to stretch the front legs straight. Okay, rebend the left knee a lot. Hands to the inside, so you can just kind of walk yourself around, see a long edge of your mat, and a wide-legged forward fold here. In the wide-legged forward fold, bring your head down towards the mat. Hands a little bit in front of the feet or right in line with the feet. Try to shift your weight so it's more in your toes, less in the heels here, so front of the feet. Okay, little bend in the knees. Walk your hands up to the thighs and safely come all the way upright. Turn your toes more out, heels in. Bend your knees. Rather than letting the torso go forward at first, can you keep yourself more upright? Tailbone straight down towards the floor. This usually isn't very comfortable for very long. You can add a little bit of movement into it. Okay, and then this should feel a little bit better. Tilt your torso forward and your seat can go out behind you. And then can you bring your elbows down to your knees or inner thighs? And as you do that, almost like you're rubbing your forearm to extend out through the inner thigh. Knees still wide over the center of the foot, and kind of do that to both sides. So you sit maybe a little bit lower. Stretching the inner leg, inner thigh. Adductors. Take the hands back down to the mat. Re-straighten the legs. Turn your toes more forward rather than out as you do that. And then little change. Turn the toes slightly out again. Bend your right knee and walk your hands more towards the right side. So this is like beginner stage for Skandasana. Your right knee should be bent, your left leg straight. Keep the foot flat on the floor, both feet flat on the floor as much as you can here, so it doesn't have to be a big exaggerated movement. Again, targeting inner thighs. Also working on the flexion of the right ankle, the extension of the left ankle. And then walk it over to the other side. So left knee bends, right leg straight. If you have more flexibility, range of motion, you might be starting to sit a little lower, but try to keep both feet still flat on the ground. And then we'll go back to the center. Walk the hands up to your thighs and just come all the way upright. Heel toe the feet in. A little bit of a shake. In the yoga classes, we usually are working a lot on the external rotation in the hips. We don't often actually do a lot of stretch on the inner thigh though, so that was giving us a little bit of the flavor there. And then as much as we work stretch and extension through inner thighs and rotation in the hips, we got to bring it back in. We're going to do Garudasana or eagle pose. Come into chair pose. So everything wraps in nice and tight again. Right thigh over the left thigh. Right elbow under the left. Hold on to your shoulders. Or bring it back to your hands. Can you make your right foot try to touch to the outside of the left calf or behind the calf? Squeeze everything tight towards the midline. And release the leg, release the arms, back to your easy chair sit. And take the left leg on top of the right. Left arm under the right. Hold on again to shoulders, back or front of hands. And again, that left ankle can stay out or try to squeeze the outer ankle to the outer calf, if that works. Maybe even tuck the foot, the toes behind the calf. Unwrap the foot, unwrap the arms, lift them all the way up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold, wherever you are on your mat, forward fold. Make all 10 fingers touch the ground. Bend the knees so that that's doable. And then try to straighten the legs a little bit more through the back side, keeping the fingertips on the ground. Look forward, walk your hands a little forward, adjust to a low lunge. Again, right foot forward, left foot back like we've been doing throughout class today. Warrior two, we've already been there. Spin the back heel down, come on upright, extend the arms in either direction. And we'll take this to side angle, elbow to the knee, top arm overhead. We're gonna flow here for a couple of breaths. Every inhale, come upright, go back to warrior two. And then your exhale, set the elbow back down, top arm overhead, side angle. We'll do it 2 more times. Inhale, come upright. And exhale, side angle. Inhale, come upright. Go back to side angle. Stay right here, side angle pose. Lift the left arm straight up to the sky. Instead of overhead, straight up towards the sky. But then take your focus and look down at your right big toe. Okay, this takes some extra strengthening in the inner thighs. So before we were stretching the thighs away from each other. Now it's more of gripping them in towards each other using the abductors, abductors. Straighten the right leg and send your right hand down towards the mat in triangle pose. Triangle pose from that strength of pulling inner thighs in, pelvic floor up. And then stand all the way up. Rebend the right knee. Take the hands down around the front thigh. Pause and just breathe for a moment. Step back to plank. Your choice, you can hold plank. Take child's pose for a couple of breaths. If you want one more flow, lower down to the mat, lift the chest for cobra. And let's all go to downward facing dog here. And step the left foot forward into your long, low lunge. All right, warrior two, spin the back heel down. Come on up, extend the arms out in either direction. And then the flow here, elbow down, Top arm overhead, so you see side angle pose. And we'll start to work in between those two poses. Inhale, lift the torso up, so it keeps hips down to our feet in place, and it's just the upper body that's moving here. Back to side angle. Next inhale, warrior two. Exhale, side angle. Do it one more time. Stay in side angle once you get there. Okay, for a moment, right hand up to the sky. You can even look up. But then turn your gaze back down because we need a little bit more strengthening in the lower half of the body through the core, as if the inner thighs are pulling in towards each other. And then straighten the left leg and send your left hand to kind of hover right above the floor, right against your left thigh there, left shin, for triangle pose. I always imagine top arm holding onto a rope and let it pull you all the way up to standing. Stand up, bend the left knee, and set the hands down either side. Pause and breathe. And then back to plank pose. Everyone take child's pose here. Knees apart, big toes together, sit back. Okay, we're gonna transition, come all the way back upright. And I just want you to stand all the way up. So however is best for you, come all the way back up to standing. One more time. We're gonna take that inner thigh skandasana. Stretch once more. So wide stance, turn the toes slightly out, heels in. Like a grand plie, bend the knees. Think torso straight up and down at first. And then you get to change. Butt out, torso forward. Reach your hands down to the floor. As you walk both hands over to the right side, this time the right heel can come off of the ground like we did right at the beginning. Remember that deeper lunge? And then flex and look at your left foot. Toes straight up. Okay, you might be staying right there. Or I'm trying to inch my heel a little further out until I have a nice stretch on the inner thigh. If you have pretty deep opening in inner thighs and hips, you might go back down to a flat right foot here and be able to balance, just kind of finding your way. So it's a pretty good deep stretch without overdoing it through that extended leg. Hands always super helpful in this pose. Use your hands to walk yourself back out of the pose. Come across the center, and then the left knee is gonna bend. Right leg stays straight. And you've got that stopping point. Like you can be right there, like I'm all good. Maybe on this side, try keeping the left foot flat the whole time, but pull the right heel off of the ground. And with the right heel off the ground, can you sit a little lower into the hip? The other way I often explain this is one leg, your left leg right now is in a squat. The other leg is straight out, like when we were trying to do that half split a little earlier. Use your hands to help you safely come back up. So walk them out in front. Walk through the center, turn the toes straight ahead, heels straight back, and fold over again. So again, you're wrapping the outer hip to the inner thigh now to balance out the work that would just happened. From there, come down all the way to your knees and sit back on flat feet. Hands right at the crease of the hip. Close the eyes. Of course, anytime that's dizzying to close the eyes, keep them open, just gaze low. Change again to sit like crisscross applesauce. Think feet right underneath the line of the knees. So sometimes folks will cross at the ankles. We're trying to go all the way feet under the knees and then lean over. Getting into outer hips here. Okay, come on up and take the opposite ankle in front. And then fold over again. Okay, come on all the way up and stretch your legs out in front of you. And then just easy fold over here. And like you could bend your knees a little bit, fold over, straight legs if that's feeling good for you, and just a nice easy round through the spine. Tell you a little bit of background and thought as to this practice today, slowly building from the feet, ankles, to the calves, up to the thighs, and a lot in the hips. Making sure to hit the inner thighs as well. And that kind of groundwork up is often really helpful for me if I ever get a little bit out of whack and have some sciatica pain. A lot of folks with sciatica pain will sit in like pigeon pose for a long time and think that's going to do us, and sometimes it does. Come on back up. But that specific inner thigh work I've always found super helpful for me. Okay, so for upright, we're going to cross the right ankle over the left leg in that figure 4 shape. And this should be reminiscent of what we did in the very beginning. We were doing all that footwork. This time you're just going to fold over one more time. Maybe that feels a little better than the beginning. Extend the right leg out. Let's give it a go on the second side. Left ankle over. You could stay upright. That might be enough. A little more. Fold it over. Come all the way back up. Extend the legs out. A moment or two there. A couple of breaths. Take it in. How are you feeling now? And then bring yourself all the way down to your yoga mat. Pull the knees into your chest. Just give yourself a little hug here. Rock from side to side a bit. If there's any last little bits of movement that would feel better to you, a little unwinding, do that here. And then from your unwinding, all the way out to Shavasana. Extend the arms and legs. Let the feet like turn out to the side. Let the palms open. Be as broad on the mat, like take it up. Have a sense of full appreciation for yourself, for spending this time to stretch, to move, to breathe. From Shavasana, as you are ready, a little more attention back to breath and movement and the fingers and toes. Slowly shift and make your way back to a comfortable seat. If you're sitting cross-legged now, I hope it suits you even more so than it did at the beginning of practice. And gather the palms together, thumbs to your sternum. Bow the chin to the chest as a way of honoring and giving gratitude to yourself, each other, and for this practice. Thank you. Namaste. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you, Betsy.